Thank you very much for inviting me today. I am Dr. Mohiuddin. I'm an associate professor at Laval University in Quebec City in Canada. And I'm also director of Center for Research and Studies on Contemporary Asia. I'm also member of Board of Directors of Canadian Council on Small Business and Entrepreneurships. I'm also co-managing editor of Transnational Corporations Review, topic editor of Sustainability, and also member of Sedimes Institute. I came here to Morocco day before yesterday to attend Academy of International Business MENA Regions Conference. In fact, the global value chain that helps companies, especially from the developed economies, to disperse their activities across the globe, depending on the availability of inputs in a competitive way. So now, when I say, even though we say it's dispersed across the globe, but basically it dispersed to those locations where we have this expertise. Now, in the world, we have 195 countries, but 195 countries do not contribute equally or do not have the capacity to contribute. So what we see over the last 50 years, these localizations or regionalizations that you mentioned, it's not really very new. It was even last 50 years. So it depends on the availability of those inputs that we are looking for from investors' point of view or from companies' point of view. So the first regional production networks took place in Europe, thanks to these European Union associations. Then the regional productions network took place in Asia, for example, and of course we have the North American regional productions network. So the reason why we see more and more, or many companies for last 20, 30 years, they went to China, they went to Vietnam, to India, to other Southeast Asian countries, because regionally, they provide an important share of inputs they could provide, and they have this capability to the production process of any goods. For example, even if laptops or my coat, it's not produced, it has not been produced in a single company. For example, for a pair of jeans pants, that it takes at least 12 countries and more than 12 companies to produce a jeans, and that we can buy from the market. What I mean here, that for any product, you can name it, it is produced through this network of suppliers. So the reason why we see these localizations or regionalizations, now it depends from where we can source those inputs. Now, in terms of Asia, for example, in Asia, if you look at, we have different countries with different level of developments. So they can produce it, provide all those inputs. So many companies, they used to go there. But now we have these supply chain disruptions, or we call supply chain decoupling between USA and China. So there is new type of, global value chain is emerging. This is where countries like Morocco will be highly benefited from this new era of global value chain. It's not really in terms of nationalisms, rather it's against nationalisms. Because even though sometimes we talk about nationalisms from positive point of view, but in reality, nationalisms does not help the developments. So globalizations basically reduce these nationalisms and create an open society across the globe. So the companies, firms, private firms or companies, investors, they go to places where they can do business with and earn their profit. So now the reasons why you see that particular regions like Europe or Asia or North America, they prospered earlier because they could provide those stable business environment. Like now for last 10 years, 20 years, we see that new countries are emerging. On the belt of, you can say, Mediterranean belt, or you can see that this MENA regions, for example, especially this North African regions, especially the Morocco, it geographically, it's based in a place where it can play the role of mediator between the East and the West. So the supply chain decoupling that we are observing now between USA and China, so many companies, they are looking for new territory, new places. So to invest, to produce goods. So they are more and more, they are investing in these countries, like they will consider Morocco kind of a hub, and they will produce it in order to export to Europe or to North America. So like even for Chinese companies, if they produce their goods here, those goods will be labeled as made in Morocco, not made in China. So the decoupling issue between US and China will not affect those products or to those companies. So this is basically happening in North Africa and also in Central Europe, for example. Yeah, I visited there and I met also many companies over there, and they're having also the same effect.